If you're just beginning your journey with the Ajna Light, then I would recommend you not to have any expectations, just to let whatever unfolds for you come out. The reason being that I had expectations at certain times where one session was wow and then the next session wasn't, and I was expecting it to be, so I allowed myself to feel let down. But once I realised that was what I was doing, and I was able to let go of that, the energy started flowing more, and so I really started to settle into the sense of release and just allow what is. And I think it took me a while. It took me maybe 10, 12 hours, not necessarily hour-long sessions. You know, I was building up to that. And so I recommend that just, don't have your expectations and allow what happens. For me, up at around 20 hours, I really started to notice big shift. And it had been happening all along, but because I was involved with it, I didn't see it till I stepped out on the other side, so to speak. So I had the fireworks and the colours and everything like that, and I started to lift out of my body, not knowing what that was. It was just this really lovely light feeling, as if I let a feather go and it would float like this and hit the ground. That was sort of me coming back into my body. There were many times where I had a big jolt and I wouldn't know what that was, and it was because I'd actually left and I didn't know I'd left, and it was me coming back in. Over time, that has become very soft and gentle. I don't have the jolt anymore because I've just allowed to know that that's what's happening. I'm going. One of my energy bodies is going on an experience, and I'm totally safe, and it does what it needs to do and goes where it needs to go, and then I come back in again when I'm ready. So I don't have that jolt anymore. It's like the feather. It's a very lovely, soft feeling to step in and out of my body. Somewhere up around, I think it was 25, 30 hours, the colours started disappearing for me. The patterns were less frequent as well. But at that time I was questioning, this isn't working, why not? But at the same time I started to realise that things were happening for me on a physical level, and just tingling here and there, and tingling where my injuries were in my body. And I just observed, and a lot of times I felt that, how did an hour pass? It felt like I just closed my eyes, and I know I wasn't sleeping, but I don't know where I was. Sometimes I remember it, how I've been to different places in my travels, or I've met with people, but a lot of times I didn't remember anything. I find that happens for me a lot when I'm on Delta. I feel that my body just really gives in and the mind shuts down, and I go off travelling and journeying. I don't have any thoughts whatsoever, and usually with Delta I find that as time has progressed, that it's really only a minute or two and I'm out. I don't know the lights on anymore, I don't know the music's playing, I'm unaware of my surroundings. But when I come back I'm very peaceful, and it takes me a little while to get out of Delta because I've really shut down, and it's like I've had this massive deep sleep, and I wake up and my eyes are still getting used to a bit of daylight and that sort of thing. How we are in our normal waking hours. So that's how I feel after Delta. With Theta, I have a little bit of a different story. With Theta, I stopped seeing the colours again around the same time. But with Theta, I actually do still feel myself lift out, and my journeys are not so deep. My journeys are to a point where I can remember them quite a lot more clearer than Delta, where I'm barely remembering anything. But I still have the times where I do zone out, but when I do zone out, I can remember a little bit more. I can tap into it afterwards and think, this happened, and it might not be straight away. It might be within an hour or 2 hours, or something triggers me to remember. But with Theta, I've also up to 166 hours now. 4 hours ago, from around 30 to 160 odd hours. No colour, really not much at all. Just the light would flash, and then I would be gone to wherever I'm going to, or I would stay there and be aware that the light was flashing and observe my thoughts, or observe what was coming up for me. So with Theta now, in the last 4 or 6 hours, I've started seeing colour again, and it's really beautiful. And I don't know why that is. I perhaps on that level in myself, I've released so much now that I'm able to come back to this place where my mind is able to dance and play again and create, and I've got rid of all the baggage that needed to be released. The same has happened with Alpha, and I'm really happy to say that I wasn't using a lot of Alpha before, and now I am, and I love it. It's very relaxing, such as Theta and Delta. But I'm very aware of what's happening. I'm aware that I've got the tingling in my body. I'm very aware that I might have a twitch here. I'm aware that there's birds outside, there's music, there's light. But the feeling afterwards is I feel invigorated by Alpha, and for me that's where the patterns and the colours are the brightest. And again, with all the light sequences, from about 30 to 150, 160, I only had black and white. Somewhere up at around 83 sessions, I think it was, I did have colour, and I thought, oh, this is going to start again, but as random as it came in, it went out as well. With Alpha now, I find that my mandalas that I see are very sophisticated, and yet they're nothing like the mandalas I used to see. Very intricate, and there's always a tunnel that I can slip into. And yesterday, actually, it was square, and it was like a camera shot where you just kept going into the square, and it got smaller down to the end. And I found myself walking in this slow motion moonwalk type style when I decided to go into it. And as I did, even though I was walking straight and I was on the ground, the squares were doing a spiral, and when I looked further into it was a square spiral, the Fibonacci spiral, but it was square. And I got right down to a point where I turned around and I looked behind me, and it was as if I was halfway between this square tunnel that I had chosen. So I kept doing this moonwalk, and I don't remember getting to the end of it. And I don't really remember what happened yesterday. It's on the outskirts of my thoughts there, and I haven't managed to bring it back. But I did go journeying yesterday, and there was water and there was a ball, but it wasn't a normal ball. It was a ball made of little shapes, and when I pressed on them, an emotion appeared, and water is emotion as well. So that's all I can think about what happened with me for Alpha yesterday, but I like it because it's this cosmic adventure for me that I've only just discovered about, say, 20 hours ago, and I'm really enjoying a lot of Alpha, and I can come out of Alpha and sit up and be very switched on within a minute or two, be able to get on my motorbike and jump on the road, or get into some work that I need to do. I've also discovered Beta recently, and I wasn't using a lot of Beta because we're in Beta in our everyday mode, but I've realised how grounding Beta is for me, and especially recently because I've needed to do a lot of brain work, and so with my journaling and with different spreadsheets and things that I'm doing, and so it's really been helping me to focus, where I start doing I'm tired in the afternoon, and I go have a Beta session, and I have it, and I come straight back onto my desk, have a drink, etc., and I slip straight back into my work, and I'm very focused with it. I'm having visions on Beta now, and again that was blank for about 80 hours. So I do like it, and whether I'm on the high end or the low end of Beta, I'm really feeling grounded. Moving up into Gamma, I've always loved gamma because gamma gives me this, oh, isn't everything beautiful feeling, and butterflies and things like that. I like to use gamma when I'm feeling a bit lethargic and I've got something I want to do in the afternoon, or I want to feel motivated to do something. I love to put gamma on. Again, visions of coming through with gamma and colours. Not the same visions and colours that alpha and theta and beta give me. With gamma, it's very whimsical, I suppose I could say. It's like I have something and I throw it like this, and I get to see all the effects of what it does in slow motion, and the trail of colour that opens up, or the mandala that opens up with it. It's not so clear and focused like alpha is. It's mystical and magical and fun and creative and adventurous and almost fairy tale style, and I really like that because my inner child connects with it, and so does my adult. So for me, gamma's I want to go do something this afternoon and I really want to do it, but I don't feel quite so motivated, and as soon as I do gamma, I'm there, I'm doing it, I've got the keys, I'm out the door. Lambda, I'm still playing around with. I'm up to about 25% now after going up in 2% increments, and only starting that, really seriously starting Lambda at about 63 hours, I think it was. I thought, all right, I'm going to start it. I do Lambda at the front of my session rather than at the end of my session, which is where I was doing it before. And the reason is because I do have that shamanic out-of-body experience, and so I will set it in a 3-stage session, and Lambda will only be 5%, or 10%. Now I'm up to 25%, and I find that I really do have this journey where most of the time I'm not really aware of what it is, but it's quite physically demanding for me, even though I'm still lying on the bed, but physically I know something is happening to my body. And so I do a Lambda session, and then I follow that up with gamma. So I'm only coming down gently, and then that's where the beta comes in for me. I'm grounded. So I've had this out of body, I've had this wow, amazing, and then I get this grounding at the end, and it's a lovely recipe for me to do it that way. I've tried Lambda at the end of sessions, and I'm too spaced out. For me, that's how it works well for a couple of people that I work with. Lambda for them does the opposite of what it does for me. They need to have it at the end of the session to get the most out of it. I've begun creating recipes, and a favourite one of mine for people that say, I'm stressed out and I've got a million things to do and la la la. I say, all right, so I start people off with Delta, and maybe only 5%, but 5% is enough. And then I will bring people from Delta into Alpha, say Delta about 5%, next stage of a 3-stage session, I'll give Alpha for about 10%, and I might put some Theta in there sometimes depending on who the person is. Theta, again, only around 5%, and then I'll give them some Beta, and Beta will only be 10% as well. And you might think that those are low sessions, but they're very profound for the people that are experiencing, and I really feel that when they start their session, I can see it, I can feel the tension in them, and I can see that, and when they come out, they're just really let go of baggage and let go of the list that's so long. So that's a nice recipe for relaxing. If you want to focus on something and you want to have that motivation, start with some gamma perhaps and get some beta in there as well. So you're all excitable about what you want to do. You've got creativity flowing, and then you can be grounded as well. So it's a nice balance. If you're looking to do some really deep meditation, then definitely Delta is recommended for you. Maybe you can do Delta and then have some grounding later, and you don't have to necessarily use Beta for grounding. Alpha's really good, Theta's really good as well. It's preferences about just looking about how you are affected by the presets that you make for yourself, or the recipes, and write it down, because that's how I've learned with me. This is how I like to have my recipes, and this is how I get the most out of mine. But that's not necessarily right for you, and I've seen that through the the 400 odd hours I've had now with people coming through and using the light at my place, I thought that everyone would fit into the same category as me, and I was really thrown out when some people just didn't fit that category. And so I had to relearn, and I had to really activate my listening skills about what are you telling me, and what's your body telling me, and what are you expressing to me, and I had to rewrite my own book, so to speak, and put another chapter in that doesn't make sense to me. That how can you get off on Lambda, and it just seems to me a bit wow. So don't think that the recipes that are all the same for everybody, and also it's also as we change, as we evolve and we get through this journey, the recipe might change. And I found that recently, that a setting that I had before for myself, I don't seem to resonate so much with it, and I just tweaked it a little bit recently, and I'm now feeling fulfilled with that recipe. It's just personal journey of moving forward and growing and being aware and being in touch with yourself as you're going through your Ajna Light sessions, and the change that's happening within you. And as I said, just tweak your light 1%, 2%, because 1% and 2% can make a huge difference. It can be that distance that you need to propel yourself forward and launch yourself onto another platform of your life. It doesn't mean 1% is I'm missing out on because it's only 1%. 1% is huge for our mind to change, and especially I found this, that before I would increase things at 20%, and now I actually increase things at 1% and 2%, because I want to see what my threshold is of my comfort zone and my threshold to move forward to another spiritual platform or another physical platform for myself. And so I'm really finding the advantage of moving 1% and 2% are very beneficial for me. And I intend to now incorporate that in the sessions that I give to people that I've been seeing for a while, or have been coming for a while, that are more in tune with themselves now, and I've got a resonance happening with them as well. And so that's my next journey to plan with people. So again, as I said, just allow whatever happens to unfold. One thing I haven't mentioned already is that if you have an issue that's really bugging you, this is wonderful for me, and I only practiced this morning. I had something I can see what it's about, I can see where it stems from, I can see why my buttons are being pushed, what it's reflecting for me, but I couldn't see an outcome. I couldn't see how to get past this emotion and feelings that were coming up for me. So I went under the light, I set my intention, I went under the light, I put Delta, because what I'm dealing with at the moment is very deep, and I thought I want to go really deep to the core and find what this is about. So I put it on Delta. I did a whole 1 hour session of a Delta at 100%, and I came out and I felt calm and relaxed, but I was still irritated. So I went and planted myself in the garden for a while and earthed myself and thought about it some more, and thought, all right, so now my intention has changed because I feel differently. So about half an hour later, I went back under the light again. I did Delta first stage, Alpha second stage, and Beta third stage. I came out feeling really grounded. I did have some visuals in there at some stage. I did drop off the scope for a while. I don't know where I was. I don't feel that an answer came and said, do this, but I definitely shifted something in my body. I'm not carrying that frustration I was carrying for the last couple of days, or that was building from a couple of weeks, and I feel calmer about it. So I used the light to access a space that I still don't know where it was, but I accessed it so I could tweak it slightly, and now I feel clearer about voicing myself about what it is that's been bugging me, and I feel clearer about what it was showing me about myself as well, and where I feel that I can make a change in myself, so I don't attract the situation back into my life again, because I'm tired of it. It's been with me for a long time. So it's really good to have the light, to use it for yourself. If you don't know an answer or anything, it doesn't matter. I just sit down. I recommend you lie down and put your intention there. And again, don't think, oh, I need to find the answer for this and this. You've put your intention there. The light knows what to do. Your subconscious knows what to do. Whether you come up with an answer that says take plan A or take plan B, or whether you just feel that I've had a shift, it definitely helps to move something in you. So it allows you to gain a different perspective of your situation, and that's empowering. I really recommend the light for getting through circumstances like that. So enjoy your journey and share it with as many people as possible. And me too, if you like. You can email me. I don't mind. I'm always anxious to and keen and willing to hear of people's journeys, because we're all individual, and so we don't get to share the same experience. And I'm in awe at some of the stuff that people come up with, because I've had amazing journeys from this scope of the universe to this side of it, and I'm still fascinated that your journey is not the same as mine, and so I want to hear that. I want you to share it on the Facebook page so I can read it, enjoy it myself, so other people who might not necessarily resonate with me can resonate with you. And it's about connecting us as family. When we're sharing this journey, it's connecting our soul, and it's connecting our essence, and it's connecting us as a light family. And this is what's very important with us, to tap into what we have within us. So thank you. I hope I've been of assistance to you. Light journeys to you of peace and harmony.